Once upon a time, there lived a person. Let's call them the walletless wanderer. Not because they didn't have a wallet, but because their wallet was perpetually empty. This is the story of their whirlwind adventure in a world that operates on a very specific green, rectangular currency. And what happens when you don't have it? It all began on a Monday, the kind of Monday where the sun was shining just to spite you. The wanderer woke up stretched and felt that gnawing sensation in their stomach, hunger. So they marched over to the kitchen, opened the fridge, and were greeted by the saddest sight known to humankind. One lone, half-empty bottle of ketchup. It stared back, almost accusingly. "Breakfast of champions," they muttered, squeezing a drop onto a spoon. The wanderer decided it was time to head out and face the world. Maybe someone would be generous enough to spot them a sandwich, or at least a pickle. As they walked through town, their first challenge arose: public transportation. The bus driver looked them up and down and tapped the fare box pointedly. "No fare, no ride," said the driver, who apparently moonlighted as a philosopher. Undeterred, the wanderer began walking, and walking, and walking. About an hour later, they arrived at the park, where they spotted a hot dog stand. Their stomach growled like an angry dog, but their wallet, or lack thereof, growled louder. The vendor raised an eyebrow as the wanderer approached. "What can I get you?" he asked. "Oh, just some mustard." On a napkin. The vendor frowned, but handed over a squirt of mustard. The wanderer's gourmet snack lasted about 2 seconds. Clearly it was time for a new strategy. The wanderer had heard of a mythical place where free samples flowed like wine: the supermarket. With renewed hope, they strolled into the store, grabbing a cart to appear less suspicious. The bakery aisle was their first stop. A kind lady with a tray of bite-sized muffins offered them a sample. Then another. Then another. "You really like muffins?" she said nervously as the wanderer reached for a fourth. "Big fan," they replied with a grin. But the muffin lady was no fool. She swiftly packed up her tray and disappeared into the stockroom. Next, the wanderer tried the cheese section. A pyramid of toothpicks with tiny cheese cubes beckoned them like a beacon of hope. They circled the display, trying to look casual as they popped 1, 2, okay, maybe 12 cubes into their mouth. Just as they were about to reach for another, an employee appeared. "Sir/ma'am, this isn't an all-you-can-eat buffet." "Oh, I was just taste testing." "That's the same cheddar every time." Defeated, the wanderer abandoned their cart and left the store. Hunger wasn't the only issue when you didn't have money. Social obligations were a whole other minefield. That evening, a friend invited the wanderer to a fancy dinner. Not one to miss an opportunity for real food, they enthusiastically accepted. At the restaurant, the friend ordered appetizers, entrees, desserts, and even sparkling water. Meanwhile, the wanderer calculated the cost of a single breadstick. When the check arrived, they did what any resourceful individual would do. They faked a bathroom emergency and slipped out the back door. Later, they texted their friend an elaborate story about a sudden family crisis. By now, the wanderer had learned an important lesson. Survival without money required creativity. The next morning they decided to hustle. Spotting a street performer juggling flaming torches, the wanderer had an idea. borrowing a harmonica from a pawnshop. Don't ask how. They set up shop nearby. Their rendition of Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star attracted exactly one person, who dropped a single coin into their hat. Don't spend it all in one place, the stranger joked. The wanderer rolled their eyes and used the coin to buy a single banana. As they peeled it, a nearby pigeon stared at them unblinking. Don't even think about it, the wanderer warned. The pigeon, of course, stole the banana. By midweek, the wanderer had reached new levels of desperation. They tried donating blood for cash, only to discover it was a volunteer program. They attempted to sell their poetry on the street, but their best work, owed to an empty wallet, earned only pitying looks. Finally, they resorted to dumpster diving, where they found half a sandwich and a pair of mismatched socks. A jackpot, they declared. But even in the darkest times, there were moments of absurd joy. One day, the wanderer stumbled upon a free hugs sign at a community event. They hugged 27 strangers, earning a granola bar and a surprising amount of life advice. Another time, they entered a trivia contest at a local pub, knowing full well they couldn't afford a drink. To everyone's shock, the wanderer won first place and a $10 gift card to a seafood restaurant. They were allergic to shellfish. By Friday, the wanderer realized that being broke was not just a financial condition, it was a state of mind. And that mind was exhausted. Sitting on a park bench, they noticed a community board advertising a yard sale. Yard sales mean bargains, they thought, despite having no money to bargain with. At the sale, they offered to help the elderly owner set up tables in exchange for a sandwich. To their surprise, the owner gave them not just a sandwich, but also an old backpack. You look like you could use this more than I can, she said kindly. The wanderer discovered that the backpack contained a treasure trove of random items: a notebook, a pen, and a partially functioning flashlight. Inspired, they decided to write a book about their experiences, titling it How to Survive Without a Dime. They scribbled furiously, using the notebook as their new purpose. Saturday brought an unexpected twist. The wanderer's harmonica playing had caught the attention of a local music enthusiast, who offered them a small gig at a community center. For the first time in weeks, they earned actual money. It wasn't much, but it was enough for a decent meal. They splurged on a sandwich and a cup of coffee, savoring every bite as if it were a feast. The wanderer also realized something profound. Even without money, they had gained something invaluable: stories, resilience, and an appreciation for the little things. Sure, life without money was challenging, but it also had a way of showing what truly mattered. And as they sat in the park, watching the sun dip below the horizon, they decided that tomorrow would be different. Maybe they'd find a job. Maybe they'd sell their new book idea. Or maybe they'd just keep wandering. After all, every adventure starts with nothing but a little hope.